the last one. I didn't.
Okay, welcome everybody to the June meeting of MSRAC. We'll adjourn this meeting right at 9 o'clock.
Call to order. You
Call to order, I mean.
Oh,
my God.
Yeah.
I have to apologize in advance. I'm still jet lagged. I just came back a couple of days ago, so my brain might be a little mushy. So we have in the Zoom room, it looks like Joanne, Steve, and
You want us from Freeman?
it's from Freeman. All right, so the first item is approval of the minutes of the May 9th regular meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so any discussion on the minutes from May? Any typos?
Joanne?
I can't, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Joanne.
Oh, okay, I was on mute, sorry. No, they look great, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence not associated with agenda items?
Actually, yes. Carolyn Trotta, who is the organizer of that commercial real estate networking group that I go to once a month, forwarded an invitation for a brownfields roundtable next Wednesday, 8:30 to noon, at, I believe at Putnam Town Hall, and I can, it's, free to attend. And they didn't indicate that there's any limits, but you do have to pre-register. So if anybody here is interested, I can forward the link, but I will forward to all with the minutes on Monday.
Well, the location can't be beat. No going to Hartford. If you go to something in Putnam, that is really convenient.
Yeah, the last one I went to of the format that I believe they're putting together was at EastCon. So that one wasn't terrible either, but yes, so I sadly cannot attend, although for a good reason, which we'll get into, but I will forward that with the minutes, the link.
Okay, great.
You can put me down for it.
I will forward you the link as well, sir.
Thank you.
Is there like a gender? Do you know? I mean, if it's a round table, are they gonna have a speaker or just?
If it is organized the way I believe it is, yeah, there would be a few speakers, talk about funding opportunities, programs that are available, like the TAB program, potential for redevelopment, just a general series of topics on brownfields.
Okay, well, that does sound really relevant to the work of our committee, so I encourage everybody to go if they can. Okay, item 4, citizens' comments. Oops, yeah, citizen comments.
Citizens, we do have citizens in the room.
I would like to just bring it back. Do you have any more information on those two gentlemen that were here last month about what they were thinking of doing with the Belding Corticelli property?
I mean, yes and no, they haven't produced any formal plans yet. It's only been a month, but Robert is still pursuing it. I believe he is going to be doing a walk of the site on Monday. And he is still working with the owner of the site on a friendly foreclosure process because of that pesky mortgage to a bank that no longer exists. They determined that was the best way to get past that. We've had a meeting with the assessor and tax collector and first selectman about, essentially some of the same kinds of things that we did for Gumpert, how those would apply over here. Of course, there's a major difference in that we've been working with this guy for 8 years and it's barely been 8 weeks over here, but the same kinds of programs would be applicable. So he's plowing ahead, but no formal plans or anything.
Well, that's good to know the interest is still there for sure. Anybody else? Any other citizen comments?
Did you, you did say there was a walk, he's doing a walkthrough Monday?
He and his LEP, Tim, the other gentleman who was here with him.
Do you have an idea what time?
No, and it's not like a public meeting. They are going as private individuals working a deal. I'm not going on it.
Although it might be helpful to them, to have someone there with knowledge of the studies that have been done.
Well, they have all the studies. So I've sent them all the
Yeah,
documentation.
but that's in print, read, is versus someone who just.
Yeah, but-
this is-
Yeah, but who's knowledgeable enough to know exactly what's his?
Tim,
Tim
right?
is.
Tim is.
Okay.
Yeah,
alright.
yeah,
That's-
he's the
real-
ELP.
No,
No,
he's.
no, he's
an
the
LP.
licensed,
He's
the
he's like
license,
Wayne.
he's like
Oh,
Wayne.
okay,
So he can read Wayne's reports and interpret them.
okay,
Two.
and he's the potential buyer's guy.
Correct. Right, he's the one who's gonna assist him with the
Environmentals.
environmentals. For the sake of the minutes, Ryan Canoyer entered the meeting online at 9:06.
Using.
Yes.
It took me a little bit to go through it, but hopefully we can answer any questions and get you guys, in there and working as efficient.
I don't believe that was intended for us.
These are two meetings at the same time.
I believe that is the case. That won't be in the minutes.
Okay.
Anyway,
Good.
yeah, so yes, somebody with the technical knowledge to examine the site will be with him, yes.
That's why I'm asking, because I know that area very well. I've worked there and everything, so I just want to see what their plans are. The Paul is still. Every bit of information that is known about the place needs to be known.
Mhm.
Any other citizens' comments before we move on? Okay, committee business. The Connecticut Community Investment Fund grant projects. The first item is Main Street reconstruction, and we have some folks from Freeman who update us on the design.
Yeah, so Ioannis and Yana, and I'll give you screen share if you need it. Give me a second.
Sure, that would be great. So hi everyone, nice to see you. Today I'm here instead of Tristan. My name is Yana Wu. I'm the lead landscape designer from Freeman Companies, and my colleague Yanis is also here. Want to say hi, Yanis?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Yanni Masterakis. I'm the civil engineer. I've been working with Tristan on this project, so I'll be representing the civil side of the project today.
Thanks, Yanis. So I'm going to start first. Trying to I'm testing the share function. No, this one. Sorry, please bear with me. Not too familiar with this setup. Where is?
So there should be a share tray on the bottom of your screen.
Oh, the bottom. Okay. So looking from the.
Should be highlighted in green and say share screen.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Found it. Perfect. Okay. Is it showing anything here?
Not yet.
Okay. Need to
There
see
you go.
the
It's
share.
coming up.
Okay, thank you. I will start from the Swanson Park, just regarding a few key layout updates based on all our discussions from the email. This is like the current survey of the park. As we talked before, with the proposed layout, this 18-inch tree is like start to like standing on the edge of the trail, which turning into like a huge constraint. Even our goal is always to keep as many as possible of the trees. So thanks for updating us that the city feel it's okay to remove this tree. So I'm just gonna jump into our vision plan here. So now all the symbols here with the P means protected or preserved. So we're gonna keep most of the trees in the working area. Only this tree gonna be we're gonna take it off, which allows us more space to create like one continuous like the memorial build, like as what we received from the hand sketch. and at the same time keep the proposed layout of all these like park, like the walking and stop by and looking at the memorial to keep the whole walking experience. I think this is one of the this is the biggest layout update based on our previous discussion. So, and one more thing I want to bring up is want to say thanks to Steve first. Thanks for your nice hand sketch that helps us a lot. So in this sketch, we noticed like we're trying to keep the center of this future proposed memorial like falls between this memorial number 4 and memorial number 3. But in the adjusted layout, the center will be aligned with this number 3 and this flagpole. Just want to make sure like everyone's okay with this minor difference. The reason this happens is because we want to keep enough space for this ADA route from the parking lot. So we're trying to create like a ramp here. So anyone, if they parking here from this spot, they can have like easy access, like with either wheelchairs or handicaps, or even like a mom like pushing her baby stroller. So this ramp gonna provide an easy access. So this one will take some space, and also for these two memorial, number 1 and number 2, they are double-sided. So we need to keep enough space to allow a wheelchair or any baby stroller, things like that, have enough turning around space from the behind. That's the two features, take some distance, which pushing this flagpole slightly to the, well, I'm gonna see the left side of the paper. And eventually it's gonna be aligned with the center of this future memorial. Before I dive into the landscape design, I'm gonna stop here to see if there's any questions or concerns with this one.
Steve, does that design clear most of your concerns from the last couple go-rounds?
This is like addressing the discussion regarding, sorry, just to find it. This was like based on our previous discussion to remove the tree and keep the memorial built design as close as the hand sketch from the city.
Steve, are you there?
Yes, I am here. I'm reviewing it now. I will say it's better. The back of the main plaza seems flatter than the hand sketch had more of a curve back there. But in general, it is better. I know that, you know, mine was a sketch, and this has got to be made real because of trees and root balls and things like that. So I know that you're dealing with reality at this point, but that's my main concern at this point. The backside of the main plaza seems flat. I did like the off-centered flagpole, but I think that really the veterans group should weigh in on the actual placement of the memorials. They seem fine. I like the fact that they're kind of all together now, not separated by that number 18 tree, that 18-inch tree. And I do like how the trail flares out at the bench locations to give a spot for benches and not impede traffic. So that's it. In general, it's better, but the backside of the main plaza still looks flat.
Well, we can definitely try, but one of the constraints, this tree still.
The 24-inch, yeah, I see it.
Yeah, in the sketch, we believe because we have this tree and this tree here, it's kind of like deciding how far we can go.
Okay.
Unless we're trying to create like a bigger curve here, but considering here gonna be the ADA accessible, so we're trying to
Yeah,
keep it
that's the other
flatter.
thing going on
Yeah.
is the ADA. So as I said, you're dealing with reality. I was dealing with more of a design sketch. So if it does need to be flatter, so be it, I guess. But
Steve?
it is much better.
Steve,
Yes.
Thanks.
Bernie here, what if where it flattens out on the edge closest to the 24-inch tree? What if you, for the moment, for discussion, ignored that tree and put the curve back where you originally had it, which is into the tree, and then cut it back around the tree? So it flared out either side of the tree, then came back in, and then curved it back around the tree to create a U shape, a U cup. No, the other side, under the tree. So the walkway gets narrower, it gets wider either side of the tree and gets narrower to circle under the tree.
Not sure I follow you, Bernie.
Yeah, it's hard to, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to explain, yes. Maybe even a little more dramatic than that.
And when you say a little more dramatic, Bernie, you mean the wider part
The wider
even
part,
wider?
the wider part's further out, yes. Curve further away from the monuments. No. Back where you were working, curve further away from the monuments, so it looks like it's gonna run into the tree, but then cut it under the tree the way you've drawn.
Sorry.
It's out there.
Well, shouldn't it start actually at the concrete? Because that's the back of like the mulch line.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that, but push it further up on either side of the tree.
Like this? Oh, you
No,
mean,
I-
oh,
Everything I'm talking is above the monuments only.
So
Curve towards the center, that's it, and then way up and then back down. Something to that effect is what I'm trying to explain.
so here can be a little bit more space for the plaza?
No,
For the-
I think that the main plaza should, it's kind of flat. If it just bows toward the 24-inch tree a little bit, and maybe the flagpole doesn't have to be so close to the 24-inch tree. What if we found a different place for the flagpole, not in the root? Maybe it's
Kind of in the middle of the walkway.
could be behind those two number one and number two. Well, not that close, but somewhere behind them.
So I think that what Yanan was saying earlier was that those two monuments in that area that we're currently discussing are
Yeah.
double-sided monuments, so that area should probably stay free of additional obstruction. But possibly the other now wider bumped out bowed area could be a possibility. Because those are not double-sided monuments, is that correct, Yanan?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
That's correct. I don't know if I agree with the double bump out.
Okay, it was just an idea. I'm not.
No,
against it.
it's good, Bernie. That's what we're doing here. We're brainstorming. So I think if you start with softening that straight edge of the main plaza, bow that a little bit more, maybe it's just a couple feet. Yeah, soften that curve. And then, maybe the mulch just gets thinner at that point, or maybe it does bow out like Bernie said, come back out where it needs to. Because
If,
yeah.
sorry, if we can move the flagpole slightly further somewhere here, because currently this point is getting wider because there's both flagpole and the memorial number 3.
That's my point. If we find it, and I don't know if I agree with your location to the south, because it's now kind of more in the clump of trees, but it would be more visible if it was to the north, I think. To the right of the 24-inch tree, even if it, so what if it's in the grass?
If we can, if the idea of like curving here, like a bow out here, create a little bit extra space, maybe we can still keep the flagpole somewhere here. The dimension requirement for the ADA accessible is like the minimum is 3, but I feel 5 feet gonna be reasonable considering people might bump into this structure.
Right.
So as long as we have 5 feet, we should be safe.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, if that
What do you-
decision, we're gonna.
What does
Is it-
everybody think of that?
This is Janet. I like it.
So, Yanan, I think that back curve should be symmetrical too. It shouldn't, it should center on that future memorial insert. Do you know what I mean? That center line that runs through those two curves. So the back curve should be symmetrical to that too.
Sure. The center line gonna be this one, right? The center
Yes,
align
yeah,
with the center.
exactly.
Maybe this is getting too grandiose. But what if we totally encircled the 24-inch tree in the gravel walk area? And then had mulch surrounding the tree and park benches on the gravel. Circling the tree. So park benches in the shade under the tree.
Well, it's a
And-
little bit of scope creep, I think.
Exactly. Quite a bit more.
Yeah.
And we didn't cost out any number of benches, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that they can't be added at a later
Well,
date.
yeah, but we're increasing the gravel path area by what, at least 25%, I'd say, by doing something like that.
Is there any gravel path? I thought to me, this looks like concrete and mulch.
Oh,
It is. It's concrete and mulch.
yeah, it looked like gravel in the in drawing there, sorry.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, that's a huge area to
it is.
these.
I think I prefer that as natural myself.
I mean, always comes to mind for me, what's easier for folks taking care of the park too, is that add,
Yes.
right? So let's keep it simple.
Right, keep the benches on the concrete where there's no weed whacking or anything.
Janet, are there
Yes.
any representatives from the veterans here at the meeting?
Not today.
I think that's all for the layout. If we are good with this direction, I can start to talk about the planting.
Okay.
Uh,
So, just one comment about the memorials. Janet, do you think we should run the sequence by the groups?
We can get them the sequence. When they were here at that meeting, they seemed pretty open to it just being aesthetic.
Okay,
But I think before we go to ground on any of it, we would be sharing them the final design or the
Okay.
90% design or whatever.
yeah, okay. All right, very good.
thanks. And I'm just gonna continue with the planting plan. Well, a quick update. We have all the sheets ready as like a full set draft. But today I just gonna highlight the layout and the planting plan for the consider of time. I won't go through each page. Well, with that layout adjustment, we will definitely adjust some tree locations. But overall idea is still the same, to adding the decorative trees along the path. And based on the discussion before, sorry, I'm trying to find my Our current planting suggestion is this service berry. I can show you photo from a website. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Don't find it. It's here.
Yeah, and you selected serviceberry, not dogwood. Serviceberry is very early flowering, isn't it?
This type is like flowering around May. Like from the beginning to end of May, and then after that it's gonna be this kind of purple reddish small berries. Could be another type of decorative feature. As for the background, and when it turns to fall, it's providing a reddish leaves.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, that's why we're thinking it's like providing the features pretty much like through from the early spring until the late fall. So this is one of the reason we were thinking about this, and plus this type of berries benefit for the local native wildlife, the birds. So I'm wondering if this is like could be an idea. And one more dimension consideration is like these trees are slightly shorter than the current trees on site, so it can create like 2 tiers of the hierarchy. So the green shading trees on top, and then these flowers like in the middle level, and at the same time, after they grow taller, it's still keep the the lower part gonna be a clear view, a sight line, so people can still see through from here. This is for the safety concern, like try not to creating all the like blocked area. So this is the reasons we look at this one for now.
This is Janet. I think it looks great. The only question I have is those berries, they're not prone to like falling on the concrete and staining, are they?
Back to our layout. I mean, that's a very good maintenance question. We can try to put the trees slightly further from the concrete edge. Well, here could be a better example, is like the edge of the tree just like barely touching the edge of the concrete. And the other side, because we have the mulch area, so it won't really get into the concrete surface. If there's any, it's gonna be only 1 to 3, well, 3 feet gonna be the maximum, maybe 1 to 2 feet from the edge, which I don't think is gonna be a huge disaster from maintenance aspect.
Thanks.
I was thinking along the same lines as Janet, but instead of the staining issue, I was just wondering about the cleanup maintenance issue with the berries. Is that a problem?
Bernie's a little bit farther from the microphone.
Oh.
Did you hear the question?
Sorry, is a question to me or to the
To you. And what is the maintenance issue with the berries once they fall?
Because most of the site is the grass, they can just sitting there. I don't think there are gonna be much efforts other than cleaning the edge of the concrete edge. But if we really want something like with no berries, we can also look into other options.
Well, I like the berries as long, I like the whole look of the tree as long as it's not going to present a problem.
I believe as long as we provide enough distance between the center of the tree and the edge of the concrete, it won't create much issue. I think a quick explanation is here. Like here is like a 30-inch tree.
That's the existing tree.
Yeah, that's the existing tree. That's how far the canopy and the root balls going. So this new proposed service berry, when it's just planted, it won't get big that soon. So when we get the new trees, it's like gonna start from a much smaller circle. It won't get into this edge when they were young. They will slowly grow into like here we can see it's about 30-inch this is a tree canopy size for about 13-inch tree. So the serviceberry tree won't get that much area when they were, yeah. I mean, hope this helps. What I'm trying to say is like when we just have it, we won't have that much problem from the beginning. I don't know, 5-6 years. And when they getting more mature and with larger canopy area, it will only touch the edge of the concrete edge.
Kira, what do you think of the serviceberry?
I'm fine with it. I think it was actually one of my earlier suggestions was either serviceberry or redbud. Actually, for all the reasons that Yanan suggested. When you and Janet and I went out there to look at it, I had mentioned dogwoods only because I know they flower a little later and closer to Memorial Day. I still feel like serviceberries do peter out their blooms earlier than that. That would be my only reservation on that species. Otherwise, I think they're lovely trees. But as we discussed in the group at the last meeting and Steve and Janet and I independently, the most prominent use that this park gets is a Memorial Day ceremony. So the ideal would be to have something in full flower at that time. And I mean, just driving around observationally, dogwoods have a very, very long bloom, and they do start to bloom mid to late May. So they are in peak bloom around this season.
Mix.
It is also true. We've been talking about single species. It could be a mix of species. Is that too free form for the formality of a memorial park?
No.
Not in my opinion, but we have been talking about single species planting.
So how about some dogwoods in logistically key locations for Memorial Day?
I like the idea of this, the color this turns in the fall too.
Yeah.
Right. Got a nice.
Yes.
So having a mix would be good, I think.
You know, something with the dogwoods specifically in relation to the monuments, their location.
Like these 4 as dogwood, that'd be
I don't
good.
think it would be everyone, but you know, symmetrically, maybe 2 of them or.
Because we still have the other trees on the edge, maybe can be service tree, and then the center 4-5 trees be the dogwood. Would that be good?
That's a good
We can
compromise.
certainly try that.
Yeah, kind of whatever you think, but I think a mix with the dogwoods and monuments is tied to each other based on what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, variety supplies visual interest too,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
Plus, if
Okay.
one fails to thrive, then maybe the other one will do better.
This is true.
Yeah. Yanin, could we see the photo of the serviceberry again?
Sure. Just give me 1 second. This one.
Yes. So is this typical? It's not a single trunk. It's more like a shrub, really, kind of a shrubbish tree. There's not a uniform trunk. Is this typical of that species?
I believe so. Will the multi-stem be an issue for this site? Will this form be an issue or concern for here?
No, I just climbability and
Oh,
susceptibility to damage, from whatever source. I think is more if it's not a uniform trunk. But I don't know. What do you think?
Who are you asking?
Anybody? Any concern that
I'm not sure if anybody heard Renee, since she's not close to the microphone either. She said she agrees with Steve.
Is there a location that's, I can't tell where all the trees are gonna be planted, and I don't even know how many trees are being planted. That if we go with some of these, that it's further off the walkway, less accessible for people, for damage or kids climbing or whatever.
Well, I think further away from the walkway, more in the middle of the green is more susceptible to get climbing.
Yeah,
Plus,
I would
plus
think
it
so.
loses its impact. The nice thing with this design was the kind of following the path, you know, the sinuous path with the flowering trees, and I love how they turn red in the fall.
Yeah,
That
me
would be
too.
an excellent pathway, you know, framed in red leaves in the fall. That would be fun.
Are we envisioning this is gonna turn into a playground sort of park that's gonna
No.
draw kids?
No,
No.
it's a memorial park.
Right, so is it, I mean, a legitimate point, Steve, but is it really a major issue?
No, it's just a thought I had as I looked.
Now, Steve just,
So it might be fine.
he just, and I mean, I like the idea of the dogwoods, but he just mentioned like these trees turning red in the fall and that being the pathway. Now, that won't be the same.
Well, dogwoods turn red in the fall
Do
too.
they too?
Yes,
So, okay,
they have beautiful fall foliage.
perfect then.
And in fact, some species of dogwoods also have sort of very large, showy, like bumpy berries. They kind of look like lychee fruits.
Yeah.
And they're not very squashy.
Yeah.
Does one species or the other require more pruning, maintenance, less breakage, branch breakage, et cetera?
I don't know.
That's a question to you, I think, Yana.
Sorry, you mean the maintenance issue for the dogwood or for the serviceberry?
Well, I think either one, but obviously serviceberry is the one that you put the effort into looking into.
I think since this is like a not really a urban park, so I don't, especially most of the site gonna be covered by the natural grass and as a lawn, so I'm not foreseeing much issue with this one here.
I think I like Yanan's compromise with the 4 dogwoods kind of at the center. I think that would work well. Then it gives you some flexibility with blooming. You know, some may bloom earlier and some may bloom later. But I think it's a good compromise.
Are we talking all white?
Well, the serviceberries are white, I think.
Are all dogwoods?
No, are we talking of planting all white?
That's actually my following question. Sorry, I just grab a random photo. For dogwood, we have 2 color options. Which one we like, a pink one or the?
I like the uniform look of the all white. You know, if the serviceberry is white, then the white dogwood. But how do others feel?
Well,
I actually kind of like the pink because it goes back to your cherry idea.
Huh?
When you originally envisioned cherry trees, I kind of like the pink. I kind of, that's, I'd be happy either way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm agnostic. I could go either way. I mean, white is a more sober color for a memorial park, perhaps, but yeah, I have no meaningful opinion as to whether they should be pink or white.
Be right down. I have to leave the room for a minute.
So
Anybody else? Pink, white? Let it up to,
if we do white, then everything flowers white. But Mary turns red, so you have a period when that's red.
That's true.
And when that's red, if you go with pink dogwoods, everything will stagger, red, white, red, white. It won't all be red, it won't all be white at the same time. Personally, I like the white.
Bernie likes the white.
Okay.
Sold.
sold, white.
okay, yeah, if that decision, got it. Then white dogwood, the four white dogwoods in the center, and with other trees that serve as berry. Keeping enough distance from the concrete path to minimum the maintenance efforts to clean them out. Does this sound good?
Yeah,
Sounds good, Yana.
that sounds good.
Yes. Okay, then I guess that's all I can share for today. And thanks for your inputs and opinion. Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing from here.
Okay, thank you.
So Giannis, I think you're up.
That sounds. I won't have as much to share as Yanin, but I just want to give a quick update. Overall, we're just bringing along our plans from the submission in May. There's kind of just been a general speeding of the plans. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
There's kind of just been a general speeding up of the plans and trying to bring everything along and up to date. So we're doing that. The part that Tristan wanted me to highlight was from the conversations about the 2 parallel parking spaces in front of 65 Main Street. This is a little sketch of it for now within our plans. It's 2 24 by 13 foot spaces. And then there's just a note of the 6-inch walk or the 6-foot walk to be coordinated with the current Main Street project and to work with the architects there to make sure that this gets coordinated with them as well too, because we know that there's construction going on and plans to do construction there as well.
So just to give the committee some context, when I was looking at the site plan designs for the 65 property, and we were looking at the parking area, the question came up about ADA accessibility. The grade on the existing driveway is terrible. So we had an ADA spot in that area. And yes, the basement level will be ADA accessible, but it's still just going to have a staircase up there. So in order to get to the ramps up there, there was no good solution for that. So I had contacted Tristan, asked a couple of things. Initially, we talked about the sidewalk across the street in front of the house associated with the bakery, but that was determined that even if we repurposed that, it wasn't wide enough. So that's where these 2 spots come from.
Are hydrants marked on the plans? No, the water, fire hose hydrants marked on the plans. I'm just, something tells me there was one around that area, although I could very well be wrong.
There's one here that you can see a little bit page south or south, but page west. But in this area, I don't believe there's any hydrants here. It's just this one over here.
And
I mean, you're talking very vague image there.
Yeah, exactly.
this is Janet. Have you been able to coordinate with DOT? Or are they still waiting for these darn signed contracts?
Yeah, I think the last that I heard from Tristan, and I can make sure to double check, but I think that his update that he gave in the email that he sent to Tyro was that we're still waiting to hear back from DOT.
Yeah, that's correct.
And that we're just, hands are tied a little bit until we hear back from them.
Okay, so the plans have been submitted to them for review, but they haven't reviewed them.
Correct.
Was that the only piece you had for today, Giannis?
Yeah, like I said, everything else, it would be going through the whole project, and it's just us bringing up to speed. There haven't been any major layout or design changes besides this. Other than that, it's just kind of finalizing and updating the grading and the drainage, the things that have already been laid out, and it's just kind of fine tweaking it and bringing it up to kind of a higher standard for the next submission.
Great. Thank you for getting those 2 parking spaces in there for me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad that there's no issues here.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Question, Janet, here, where's the money stand on all this?
So the money is the contracts, the grant contracts. So
I mean, is the money there for us to?
it's committed.
It's committed, but is it there? with all the changes in Washington? Is the money actually there?
That's state money.
Oh, it's totally
Yeah,
state.
this is all state money.
Okay.
Yes.
So
I
it's
didn't,
not-
I didn't realize the
Yeah,
question you were
yeah,
Not in
asking.
jeopardy is what
It's
he's
not
asking.
in
Yes,
jeopardy.
this money is not in
Yeah,
jeopardy. It
yeah.
is committed by the state.
Right.
Yes.
And so the various contracts, I know I've been following some chain of emails. Are they all set now? Are they?
Well, so I called and emailed both of my project admins on both of the big district grants, the Brownfield grant and this one. I heard back from Mark Burno in Brownfields, well, from Mark and Shantae, with the same answer I expected, which is that legal has it, and we're just waiting for legal to produce the final contract.
Okay.
I did not hear back from my project admin on the SIF grant. That's the newer grant, obviously, so it's not as like hair on fire urgent, although obviously we want to get it taken care of. What I did do was I dropped a little buzz in the ear of Comptroller Scanlon when he came up on Monday. The town and the Northeast Chamber hosted a walking tour of the district with him and some chamber members. So for me, the opportunity was exactly that, to talk about, you know, look a few years in the future, this is what the state investment is paying for. By the way, can you help me shake my contract loose? Which he implied that he could. So I followed up with him via email and particularly on the Brownfield grant, because we've got to get out to bid on that. I mean, we're starting to move forward with some stuff because, you know, we've been waiting, but yeah, the state has lawyers and the lawyers are drafting the documents, and
Okay.
until they do, we don't have any dollars yet, but they're all committed.
They're committed
Okay.
and the state has them, the state, but I guess what was behind my question was, is the money initiated on the federal level to the state?
No,
It has
none of-
nothing to
none
do
of
with the
this.
federal level whatsoever.
This is all state origin funds.
Good.
Okay. Great, then I guess we should move along to any updates on 65 Main Street, which we just saw 2 new parking spaces. Anything else?
So there's that. The planning grant, my extended performance period ends at the end of the month, so I am banging out that master plan as quickly as I can. And it's just those 3 components still. All the documents about the formation of the 501c3, those are mostly complete. I still have to finish the business plan. And then the site design documents that Barton and LaJudas are putting together for me. So everybody knows that everything's got to be done by the end of June. There is still some money in that grant. I don't know how much of it is going to end up going to Barton and LaJudas at this point. But we are probably going to give at least a little money back to the Fed on this, which is fine. We did form the 501c3. We have a board of directors. I'm the president. Nick Donahue is the vice president. Jocelyn Leahy from Connecticut RC&D is the secretary. And Mr. Lafredo over there is our treasurer. We did adopt a resolution to open a bank account, but we have no funds, so there is no account yet, but at some point I'll probably just put in a couple hundred seed dollars just so that it exists. We have a meeting on Monday with some members of the new board of directors to we did file bylaws, but they're like boilerplate bylaws that our consultant from the Transactional Law Clinic made up for us. So we're going to try to refine those, but that's all just details at this point. And as we know, I see your note, Yana. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And as you know, Courtney did take again our appropriations request. Even though it got scrubbed from this year's budget, 3 weeks later, they opened the process up again. And they, you know, they're privileging the previously approved applications. I have no idea if we're gonna get any money out of it, but if we do, it could be up to that same full $730,000, $750,000 for the site work. I just sort of copy pasted the old request, so we'll see. That would really tie everything up nicely if we can button it up with that last grant. We'll see. That's the update.
Okay, then how about Rivermill update? I assume that's the brownfield grant you were talking about.
Well, right, so that we're still waiting on the contract, but the reason I can't go to the Brownfield conference or roundtable is that I have already arranged next Wednesday, Gumpert's up, and we're gonna have Pete Felino, who is the project lead from Eagle. He's our environmental consultant, who will be doing the hazmat abatement design for our portion. I assume that's gonna be at least a partial walkthrough of the site, and then Jamie and John, the fire marshal and building official, are gonna come along as well, so we are moving ahead with stuff. I mean, Gumpert's portion of the remediation has nothing to do with the grant, and he owns it now, so he can move forward at any time that he likes. I assume that part of this conversation will be narrowing down his time frame a little bit. I'm certainly hoping that's part of this conversation. Our time frame is tied to the grant contract, so. But I do expect everything's gonna go out to bid this year.
If
Great.
you have an opportunity in that conversation with him, it'd be nice to know where they stand with the Stevens, Liddens Mill in Dudley, just because they kind of, you know, they impact each other, they're both happy.
Oh, yeah, I can ask him about it, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought that, honestly,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, I drive by it on a fairly regular basis.
See, I never drive by it.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Tell me, he also bought is that the same place we're talking about? The Dudley Mill?
Behind the donut.
Yes.
The one where they used to have the flea market, I think. right?
Yes.
Yeah, because he was, when we had a meeting here with his property manager to talk about that partial roof collapse in one of the buildings. And they were mentioning that they went to do a clean out there, and the stuff left over from that flea market was dozens of dumpsters
Yeah.
worth of stuff pulled out of there. So that I do know about that mill.
Okay.
Read down all the roads and sidewalks, I assume that it's tied to the project.
Yeah, well, I'll ask him this.
Yeah.
Okay, then, any other updates? I think we did briefly discuss the 630 Riverside Drive earlier under citizens' comments when we were talking about, them walking the site. Anything else, or the Connecticut Deep 319 grant?
Well, we won't hear anything about the 319 grant until at least September, because although CT Deep administers it, it's tied to federal funding through EPA. So their fiscal year ends September 30, and of course, everything's chaotic, so who knows? But I wouldn't expect notification any
Right.
earlier than the end of September.
Try to make a mental note to put it back in the agenda in September or October. Then.
The only other thing, and it's not really totally relevant to MSRAC, but it is relevant to brownfields, is that, and it does actually have some optimism about other federal funding. So you guys know that I'm on the board of the land bank. The land bank entered into a partnership grant with CCOG to do area-wide assessments of a number of towns. It's like Sprague, Lisbon, Wyndham, Willimantic. I thought that grant was going to be dead on arrival because the parameters of the grant included discussing environmental justice. But it was awarded. So I'm not going to be super involved with that because it's CCOG. I'm just going to sort of be a liaison for them because I was there when Wayne was still on the board. So I'm just more familiar with the application than the other members of the land bank. But the point is that, you know, this thing had trigger words in it and it was still awarded. So maybe we will get lucky with the 319 and some of the other stuff, but we'll see.
Okay, then, any other committee business? Anybody in the Zoom room have anything to add or questions?
I'm all set, thank you.
That was a good presentation on the Swanson Park. That's a, what do you call it? You know, we got to really pour through the design and give comments, so. Thanks, Steve.
If all goes to plan, we should have $6 million worth of construction underway starting next year.
All
If all
right.
goes to plan.
All right.
I mean, I'm so hesitant to say it because I've thought we're gonna be able to go to bid it before, but we're just waiting on contract now.
All right, then I guess at 9:55, we can adjourn.
Have a lovely weekend, everyone.
Yeah, take care, everyone.
You.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.